Let's see if this is working. Good evening, everybody, or good morning, or good afternoon. Just wanted to record a video for my grade 10 students on chapter 6, especially on the word problems. I'm going to take a look at two questions related to our end of the chapter word problems from chapter 6, question number 4 and number 8. So hopefully that'll help you, and you can take a look at it at your own leisure. I'm going to just help you out through that, just in case when our test comes, you'll be ready for those word problems. So let's get to it. Give me a second as I set up. Let me just share my screen first of all. Hopefully this will work. I'm always a little rusty with this. I'm using a different computer to see if this works. My apologies. Let's see if this is going to work. I get rid of my face so that, you can focus on the screen. So what we have is a baseball question. Pause the video if you'd like to record yourself. Try it yourself, sorry. And clearly this question is a projectile type question. This question says a baseball is hit into the air by the Blue Jays batting coach. Its height h in meters after t seconds is h equals negative 5t squared plus 30t plus 1. So first question is, how high off the ground was the ball when it was hit? So this question is actually asking for the y-intercept. So question A is really easy. There's a couple ways to think of it. You can let t equal 0. And then that will tell you the height. And if you plug this in, negative 5t squared plus 30 times t plus 1. But what is t? Well, t happens to be 0. And what do we get? We get 0 plus 1, h equals 1. So for the first question, number A, letter A, how high off the ground was the ball when it was hit? It was hit at a height of 1 meter. So I think that makes sense. Question B. What is the maximum height reached by the ball? So this question is actually asking for vertex. So there's a couple ways of finding vertex questions. Just to recap really quickly. To find vertex, you have three options. You can factor first, find the roots, then use the axis symmetry formula, then plug in. You can complete the square, which will give us our P and Q, which you know is the coordinates of the vertex, or we can find the x coordinate of the vertex by using the formula negative b over 2a. Note, this has to be in standard form. And clearly this equation is in standard form. So let's try to use the new form. But again, feel free to pause the video and try to use completing the square. I'll be honest with you, I do not think this equation is actually factorable. So completing the square would be a second option. But let's try the negative b over 2a fashion for finding the maximum height. Note, when finding the maximum height, this is actually going to be finding, and according to our vertex form, this. The Q will find our maximum height. But of course, we're looking at the original equation, and I'll rewrite it so people can see it. Let me move down the screen. So the equation was h is equal to negative 5t squared plus 30t plus 1. The a value is negative 5, and the b value is 30. Using that equation that you see in the red to the right of our screen, we will find the x coordinate. In this case, we're actually finding the t coordinate, which will be negative 30 over 2 times negative 5. This will yield, of course, negative 30 over negative 10, which will equal 3. Now notice, this doesn't answer our question, but I think if you read ahead, you'll see that this is actually answering the question for C. So this is actually the time, 3 seconds. But because we want to actually answer the question, what is the maximum height? We're going to plug it into the standard form equation that we have. So we have h equals negative 5 t squared plus 30 times t plus 1. What is our t in this case? It's 3 seconds. Pause the video if you want to use your calculator. I'm just going to do this quickly with my calculator. We have negative 45 plus 90 plus 1. Just making sure I have this done right. I don't want to make a mistake. The height is 46. So the answer for question B, let's just scroll up to make sure I got the right question. What is the maximum height reached by the ball? The max height is 46 meters. Question C, we already actually answered. It says, when did the ball reach its maximum height? And notice, and I'll just highlight it again in a different color. This answer we got is our p-value. So this is when. The time when it actually reaches its max height. So the answer for question C, it reaches max height at 3 seconds. We're almost done for this question. D, for how long is the ball in the air? This question, D, is actually asking for roots. Hopefully this purple is coming out on your screen. Maybe it looks like a little dark black. And so to help you review how to find roots, I'll just scroll down. To find roots, you have 3 ways. From chapter 5, you actually learned that we can actually factor and then solve. Or if it's already in vertex form, you can use square roots. This is probably not going to happen, but I'm just letting you know that we can definitely use it. Finally, we can definitely use the quadratic formula. So for question D, let's scroll back up again. For how long is the ball in the air? This ball was hit at 1 meter, and then it sailed into the air, reached a maximum height at 46 meters, and then took 3 seconds, and eventually it started coming back down. So for question D, I'll just recopy the question again, just so that people can see it a bit better. We need to find by using the quadratic formula. Pause the video if you want, but just to help everyone out, I'm going to write it on the screen. The t value is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Doing a quick substitution, I'll try to use purple again. The a is negative 5, the b is 30, and the c is 1. So I just am going to do it if that's okay, folks. Again, pause the video if you want to try it yourself. You've already done this in chapter 5, so this should be a piece of cake. But don't feel bad if you're a little rusty. Negative 30 plus or minus square root of 30 squared minus 4 times negative 5 times 1, which is all divided by 2 times negative 5. I'll scroll down a bit more. I'm running out of room. I might have to go on the next page. Hopefully this will fit. I will try to speed it up. Just give me 1 second. So what we're going to get is negative 30 plus or minus the square root of 920 over negative 10. And you remember, we're going to get 2 answers. So the first time and the second time is going to be our solution. The first one, if we take the negative 30 and add it to the square root of 920 divided by negative 10, we get a negative answer of negative 0.033. And this is, of course, approximate. The other answer, if we take the subtraction one, negative 30 minus the square root of 920 divided by negative 10, we get an answer of approximately 6.033. Now notice, this answer is negative, so this answer is considered inadmissible. So the time that actually takes, and I'll draw a sketch so that we can get the answer also for question E in a moment. What I'm trying to share with you is that when this sketch, and I'm drawing it really tiny here, you might have to zoom in, and I apologize. Maybe I should zoom in. Should have made this bigger for you folks. Sorry if you're watching. Oops. This is our HT graph, and this is our parabola. It's just a sketch. This represents the 1 meter where it's being hit off. This is the maximum height at 46. It occurs at a time of 3 seconds. And notice where I'm going to put this 6.033. That's right there. So the answer to the question D, I apologize, I'm over now to the left. I can write my answer. The ball is in the air for approximately 6.033 seconds. Hopefully that helped. We'll now move on to question 8. Pause the video if you would like. Hopefully it's not making you wonky. So question 8, let's just read it quickly. Tickets to a school dance cost $5 and projected attendance is 400 people. For every 20-cent increase in ticket price, the dance committee projects that attendance will decrease by 10. So this question is clearly a revenue question. And hopefully I actually wrote down that the first one was a projectile question. But anyways, one more time as a revenue question, just to help everyone out. Revenue is equal to the quantity multiplied by the price. So for this question, for question A, we want to find out what ticket price will produce the greatest revenue. So again, this question is actually asking for vertex. One more time, there's many ways of actually doing this, but for this one, it's kind of difficult because we actually have to set it up. So usually, most students will realize if we let X be the number of increases or decreases, we understand that the revenue will equal the quantity of people that are attending, which is 400, multiplied by the ticket price, which is $5. But they did a survey, right? They projected that for every 20-cent increase, and this increase means it's probably going to go up, what the dance people realize, there's going to be a decrease. So something's going to go down. So watch what I'm going to do. If I let X represent the steps, we're going to get, for the decrease, minus 10 people. And that's where the X goes in. And for the other one, we're going to let 5 represent the increase of 20 cents. Notice this actually looks like factored form. So again, we could actually expand this. We could use the negative b over 2a. We could also expand this and complete the square. But because it is in factored form, and if you remember what I wrote above, we can actually use roots. Now, when we find the roots for this, one more time, that represents the revenue that will make no money. And I know that seems weird, but you understand from chapter 5, these roots are helping us to find that axis of symmetry that will yield us that greatest revenue. So we want to figure out the ticket price. So let's see if we can do this. One more time. Pause the video if you want to try it yourself. But if you remember from chapter 5, we take one of the factors and you literally make it equal to 0. You take the other factor and you also make it literally equal to 0. Solving this is pretty easy. What we get is 400 equals 10x, and this x equals 40. For this question, we get 5 is equal to negative 0.20x. Divide both sides by negative 0.25, and what do we get? Wrote that wrong on my calculator. We get x is equal to negative 15. Let me just double check if I did this right. My apologies. 400 divided by 10. 400 divided by 10. Come on, that's 40. And 5 divided by negative 0.2 is negative 20. Negative 25. That's my fault, folks. I knew that thing was wrong. So these are the two roots. Now something seems a little bit fishy here, but that's okay. I'll see what I can work with. Hopefully I'm going to be correct. I apologize. I forgot how to do this question. I haven't checked the answers. I will check the answer afterwards so that we can see if I'm right. So let's take a look. So now that we have our two roots, again, these are the roots. And in my class, I use the roots as m and n. So now what do we do when we have roots? We can find that axis symmetry. Axis symmetry formula is adding the two roots together and divided by 2. And so what do we get is 40 plus negative 25 and divided by 2. And normally this is actually a nice number. So I'm a little surprised that we are going to get 7.5. And nothing wrong with this. However, this is not the answer. What we're trying to do is figure out the ticket price. And just to annotate to help everyone out, notice this 400 minus 10x, which I'm underlining in purple, that represents the quantity. Notice what I'm underlining here in light blue, this 5 plus 0.2x, this represents the price. And so it's asking, what is the ticket price that will produce the greatest revenue? So I think you understand we're going to use that equation, 5 plus 0.20 multiplied by that to find its ticket price. And that ticket price we're going to be using is that answer we got as 7.5. Using our calculator, what we get is 0.2 times 7.5 plus 5, and we get $6.50. So that is the ticket price that will yield the greatest revenue. So this is the answer for question A. For question B, though, a little bit more challenging. This is one we didn't get a chance to talk to. It says, what ticket price will generate $22,062.50? So, notice for this question, we actually have to take that equation that we have, and I'll highlight it so people can see it. So this one that we're looking at, for question B, we're going to substitute the R value of $22,062.50 into our equation. Now, unlike our other question, question A, where we let the roots be 0 for the revenue and find our M and N, just to let everyone know, that was the answer for question A. For question B, we probably have to actually FOIL. So pause the video if you want to try to do this yourself. I'm just going to do it quickly, but I will show my steps. What we get is 2,000. I'm a little nervous. For some reason, I am worried, and I hope I don't have to redo this video again. I think that is negative 2x squared. Nice. Move things over. We'll just make it look prettier. Whoops. I'm going to move the right side to the left side, so we get 2x squared. That's 30x, which really is negative 30x. And then we're going to get positive 6250. I'm a little nervous here. Let me just double check my math. Should always check your math just in case. Yeah, I think I'm right. Seems odd. I am going to have to use a quadratic formula. I think this is a nice answer, though. This is kind of fishy. C'est la vie. Let's make sure I'm right. I know I should have maybe done the answers first before I did this video, but that's okay. Maybe this is a draft run. Oops, and it is x, sorry, it is x. So let's just see if I get this right. So negative of a negative is a positive, plus or minus the square root of negative 30 all squared, minus 4 times 2 times 62.5 all over 4. Let me make sure I get this right. It is factorable. I should have known. I am a big, stupid math teacher. So that's what we get. Basically under that square root, 900 minus 400. I think, well, maybe I made a mistake. Hold on a second. 4 times 2 times 62.5 is 500. So it's 900 minus 500 is 400. Square root of 400 is 20. And so we actually get two answers. So in this case, the first answer, call it x1, the second one will be x2. So 30 plus 20 is 50. I'll just go slowly. So 50 divided by 4 is 12.5. And the other answer is 30 minus 20, which is 10. 10 over 4. And that's 2.5. So there's actually two answers that are going to yield this revenue. But what I'm trying to share with you, and I know it seems kind of weird, we're going to sub in both those answers in our, and let's scroll back up, that ticket price. That ticket price was this portion. So that's all we have to do. And the first answer, let me just make sure, it's for the first one. So I'll write down first answer is equal to 5 plus 0.20, and we'll use the first answer times 12.5. And so this first answer is going to be $7.50. For the second answer, and I'll use different blue, 5 plus 0.20, and our different answer, we'll use a different kind of value. We'll use this one, 2.5. And what do we get? We get 50 cents plus 5. $5.50. So folks, those are our two answers that will yield a revenue of $2,062.50. Let's just check to make sure I was correct. I apologize right now. I'm gonna see if I can Alt-Tab, minimize. Oops. Let me just see if I have this done correctly. My apologies. Let's go to this one. So if we scroll down, notice for question A, we have 650 and 550. There's actually a second answer. So I did get that right. And for question 4, I think we got it. 1 meter, 46 meters, 3 seconds, 6.02. And we didn't draw the graph. So I think we're correct. So I hope that helped. And I apologize, it went maybe a little long. Sorry for a little stumbling here. Thank you for watching, and hopefully this video helped. Good luck on your test, and I'll see you another time. Have a nice day.